Get mantra and meditation MP3s at jasongallant.ca.
I found that the spiritual path for a lot of people has to do with one question. And that question is, how should they be? Meaning, like, what should they be? They've roamed through life seeing that somehow they don't match up with the expectations of the world or their expectations that they have been trained into believing. They've been taught that somehow there's something wrong with them, so they have to fix it by becoming something. But the spiritual path isn't about what you should be. Meaning, you don't invent some idea of yourself that you've learned at a success seminar or some motivational speech on TikTok or Instagram or something and then be that. If that were true, everyone would just be actors. Actors in some sort of play where everybody is the same ideal of success, right? Everybody's a doctor or everybody's a lawyer because that is the epitome of whatever society says at the time, or everybody is a politician. I mean, I know that's probably the opposite of what people want to be, but you know what I mean? Like they're whatever ideal that is trendy at the time. So you have a bunch of people arguing like children. Like, who's going to be Venkman on Halloween, right? The Ghostbusters. Everybody wants to be Venkman instead of, one of the other ones, right? Now, just so you know, if I cut this video a little bit more than usual, it's because there are gunshots in the background. Somebody's playing cowboy, see? Somebody's being cowboy, so good for them. They're having fun, So my point is, the spiritual path isn't about what you should be, instead of just being the most natural version of who you are within. Now, where the confusion comes into it is that many people see how the external life has expectations, and there are certain ideas and rules of life that go on externally. And one could say that if you don't know who you are, then the external is extremely confusing. So what people do is they try to match their idea of themselves to the external, assuming that they're going to find a spot that fits. But if you're trying to match an idea of yourself instead of who you are, there's going to be some incongruency there. I could think I'm an eagle, for instance, and try to match myself to the sky by jumping off a cliff. And then, of course, if I'm naturally something else besides the eagle, then I may plummet to the ground. So everything starts with knowing who you are, and internal freedom has a lot to do with that, because what you're doing is you are letting go of the mind's ideas of who you are in order for you to discover who you truly are. And this discovery is an experience, it is not a thought, which is why we talk about letting go of thought in order for this discovery to take place. And there are many spiritual practices to assist you with this, such as mantra, breathing, meditation, and so forth. But internal freedom is what this is about. Freedom from thought, freedom from ideals, freedom from beliefs and fanatical thinking. Now, as you realize this spaciousness and freedom that you are, then it becomes very easy for you to see externally what is happening before you and to dance with those forces of life. Because there are real rules of reality, real ways that life functions. Just simple things like breathing, eating, sleeping, right? The simple functions of life have their rules and realities, which may have small deviations from person to person, but there is still the reality of incarnation. And only through observation, neutrally, can you begin to understand how these rules of reality affect you, how they affect the body. An example of this would be someone could go into the gym and assume that they are very strong. They have an idea that they are very strong. And then they can step under 500 pounds and collapse under it because the idea of strength is much different than the reality of strength. Now, if one would walk into a gym with a neutral mind, they may start to see that there is a reality of easing into a process that takes place where one works up to strength, where one puts in a certain amount of energy and effort over time in order to acquire strength. But you see, there is no idea of oneself in order for this reality to be realized. So if you don't know what you want to be, that's okay. Who you should be, that's also okay. These are questions that must be discovered instead of projected, at least internally. You could still do your jobs in life and be a policeman or be whatever you want to be, right? As far as a job, but internally, you're not identifying with it. Just like on YouTube. Here I am a spiritual teacher in order for you to understand what I'm speaking about. But that does not mean that I'm identifying with it. Like, look at me, the spiritual teacher, with a badge that says spiritual teacher on it or something, right? You are that. All the sages have spoken about this. You are just that. That which exists before thought. That which exists before idea. And when one is immersed in that, the obviousness of the play of densities become real for you. Things become more obvious to you. Your power of observation becomes more acute. So continue falling into who you are beyond idea. And trust that your observation will teach you everything you need to know when you are out of meditation and walking about in life. So I hope this helps you on your spiritual journey. Take care for now.
Are you interested in working with a spiritual teacher in a formal setting? Well, perhaps the Wisdom Life School is for you. If you're interested in checking out what the Wisdom Life School is all about, just go to aratima.com.